He did actually.
Oh shit! Oh my god!
I got
It's the heathen himself.
final boss Jew and final boss Nazi.
The final boss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look, it's like a
So-
boss fight. You
This
two
is
you
the-
guys kind of
Oh,
like,
man.
So let's talk politics. I was about to go to bed. It's 5 to 2 in the morning, but for you, bro,
Yeah.
I'm staying up late.
Speed run it real quick. Yeah, sure. Well, my first question: what's your thoughts on Treblinka and the Holodomor? This is what I want to start off with for you.
That's quite deep, bro. Can we just slow down a little bit? I mean,
We all know. We all know.
Okay,
the other stuff.
both were appalling tragedies.
Yeah.
Both
Well,
orchestrated.
Treblinka, there was no evidence to suggest that things actually happened there.
Oh, really? But bro, before we get into all that, I'm more interested in you. You're living in the States, yeah?
Yeah.
And then, like, you're interested in politics today, yeah? Not like
Yeah.
the Holocaust, the Holodomor,
Yeah,
Kaganovich,
whatever.
etc. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. So that's like, I'd much rather talk about your politics today. What's your plan?
My plan? I'm just sitting back and watch the world burn. What can I do?
Okay, why? Well, like, I want to get to know you, bro. Like, we're only just meeting. You got the
Okay,
SS
well,
badge.
I'm dying of cancer. I'm dying of cancer. Okay, so there's nothing I can do other than sit here and talk about it.
That's
so
genuine.
all I
That's
can
genuine.
do.
I never
So
thought.
that's why I say I have no power. I'm just sitting back and watch the world burn.
Never thought I'd say this to a Nazi, but I'm sorry to hear that, bro. Genuinely, that's a sincere comment. At what stage are you?
3. Yeah,
That's
I've been
heavy.
3 for
That's
10
heavy.
years now. So I've had it for a while, off and on. But time goes on. I got a couple options left, but we'll see how that goes. Who knows? I don't really think about it too much.
Yeah. On that side, you got my sympathy. The Nazi stuff we can get to, but on the human side,
Yeah,
that
sure.
sucks. So in terms of politics, what fascinates me with Nazis today is the politics of the 30s and 40s Europe was the politics of the 30s, 40s Europe. It's the past. Communism was on the rise. Capitalism was in crisis. The problem that Western nations face today is very different. It's the erosion of identity. It's the...
Well, don't you think it's trickled down from the events that happened after? Or, it's like a shockwave of World War II and all this stuff,
I
you know what I'm saying? It's
would
rippled
agree.
through.
I would agree that
Yeah.
the post-war liberal world order is a product of the events of the 1340s.
That's kind of where I stand with it too. So yeah.
So your solution is to go back to.
No, I think this is my standpoint when I represent these symbols. One, I was born in Germany. My ancestors did fight under these flags, and I like the aesthetic for one too. And I don't think these symbols necessarily mean hate. When it down to its roots, it doesn't. But in this connotation, yeah, it is. Neo-Nazi. Well, this flag, it was a neo-Nazi. It was a Nazi flag back in the day, but now it is, I guess. Whatever. But the Nazi movement is very splintered. It's very, when people look at a guy like me and they say, "Oh, okay, he must be racist and this and that and hate all the Jews," and it's very different. Many Jews, as you would know, the Hasidic Jews, Sephardic Jews, Zionists. It's the list goes on. Okay.
Yeah, I checked
And
some of those
and there's
boxes.
pieces of shit in all religions, and okay, we can agree to that. People are just pieces of shit. It's just what it is. But my problem in today's affair, current goings and what's going on, is that it's clear to me, it's prevalent to a lot of other people, that the body of Israel and its government has been conducting and subsidizing operations to blackmail and hold key positions of our entertainment, of our military, of our leadership position, key positions of our government, in order to control us. And that's very clear now. That you look at it with the Epstein files and everything, and the ties that they had with the Maxwell family, and the fact that they had a lot of
So
Jordan Epstein had with the Mossad.
With who? What did you say?
For his wife,
Jeffrey Epstein. Not Jonathan.
Yes.
Jeffrey Epstein, and his wife was Ghislaine Maxwell. Yeah.
Ghislaine, yeah. There you go. And her father, who had a lot of newspaper businesses and stuff and ties with the Mossad. I think he actually worked with the Mossad.
This is one of the. I don't want. Again, it's a tangent I don't really want to go into. But just like a quick FYI, most people don't know this, But how the Mossad operates is not like a hereditary position. So if your girlfriend's father was Mossad, it doesn't mean that you're going to be Mossad. If your father was Mossad, it doesn't mean that you're going to be Mossad. If your great-grandfather was, it also doesn't mean. And if you are, it doesn't mean your children is. That's not how the Mossad works.
Well, I just connect the dots. I know that isn't how it works on a face value level, of course not. But when you connect the dots and see what they were doing, I can say that was definitely a operation to secure key positions of our government. I mean, it's just common sense to me. The guy had owned plenty of newspapers, so he exerted influence through his companies, his newspaper companies.
Maxwell definitely did. Yeah, Maxwell did.
Right.
Yeah.
So as he clearly, CIA
And
does
he
this
was
with
he
the
also
news stations here. So there,
I don't know if
obviously had
how
ties.
the
And
claim
the
he was
emails
Mossad.
corresponding with the
So
ex-prime minister of
just
Israel.
because this is related to modern politics, because this is what I wanted to get to. Why the obsession with either the Nazism, the Jews, etc. And you believe that the Jews are controlling America, and you said it's Maxwell.
There's a specific group of Jews.
Yeah, specific
I'm
group.
not, when you say Jews, it's like everybody
yeah.
gets stupid. People are like, oh, yeah.
No, that's even better. That's even better. There's a cabal. By the way, the word cabal comes from Kabbalah. It's an interesting little factoid.
Kabbalah, the worship. Yes, I understand.
Yeah,
mysticism, the Jewish mysticism.
No, just cabal. A cabal of people being a negative. It's
the cabal.
So you believe there's a cabal of Jews. Hopefully I'm not misrepresenting you. And the strongest evidence you have for that is Robert Maxwell. Is that a fair replaying?
That's just a key to it. I mean, yeah, it suggests that.
So take Robert Maxwell. How do you know he was Mossad?
How do I know that he's Mossad?
Yeah, because that was your claim.
Right, through just looking through what he knew and everything. I can't memorize names. I can go back on my notes and tell you, but I don't want to do that right now.
Okay,
but,
that's fine. That's fine.
Because come on, bro, I have to take all my notes. I'm not a walking, talking.
The reason I was saying that,
you can look it up. You can look up yourself. Like you can fact check me on this.
I've done some videos on Epstein, and definitely a scumbag, definitely a degenerate. As an Orthodox religious Jew, there's a certain way we're supposed to conduct ourselves, and what he did is not what we're supposed to do. So degenerate, scumbag, no love for Epstein, but the claim that he was an agent or a puppet of Israel, that's where I become interested. And then there's the ties that he's blackmailing X, Y, Z. So he was in with basically every world leader, some more than others. Clinton's he was very close to. Trump he used to be close to, fell out with. He's with Mohammed bin Salman. He's with the Qatari families. He's with Ehud Barak, who's a left-wing Israeli politician.
Right.
And what the Epstein files were fantastic at doing is revealing what that relationship actually was. And so with Epstein and Ehud Barak, it was very transactional. Ehud Barak was looking for money, the ways of getting rich, having left government. And he started pitching Israeli companies to Epstein, who would then float them to his billionaires like Peter Thiel, to his network, and they would then invest. So one of the companies they invested, they exited with a sale of $625 million last year. Ehud Barak was owning anywhere between 30 and 50%, and Epstein was the original investor along with one of his ex-girlfriends. And so when I read the Epstein files, I see corrupt people, I see degenerate people, I see business and making money. What I don't see is Mossad, and what I don't see is a blackmail operation to control the Clintons or the Trumps or whomever. So that's why I'm handing it over to you. Convince me. I'm here to be convinced. And information can come from anyone, even a guy with...
What's the Mossad's motto? Victory through deception?
I mean, that is intelligence. That's all intelligence agencies.
Exactly. So do you think really that they wouldn't leave holes in there for you to doubt it? Like you are right now.
Quite possibly.
If they're not doing their job. I mean, these guys know what they're doing. I mean,
but that's why I'm asking you for to convince me of the otherwise.
If this girl's father already had like connections through the newspaper industry and everything in the government, and he was been contacted by the prime minister himself, not Netanyahu, but the other.
Netanyahu hates. Yeah.
So. That just goes to tell me that there is a definite reason to be suspicious of, at least.
Do you know
that the Mossad has its hands, or is the state of Israel has its hands in America to control key officials? When it's just seems like, and if there was nothing to hide, why did it take forever for these files to get released?
So
and then
There's good questions. They're good questions. Do you know in the files he's messaging Deepak Chopra, the wellness guru? He asks him if Deepak asks if Epstein wants to come to Israel, and he says, "No, I hate that country. I hate that country." He visited Israel once, I think. I think it was with Dershowitz even. There's no evidence. As for Maxwell, the claim he was Mossad is because at his funeral, a former prime minister said people will never know how much he's done to help the state of Israel. What he actually did was he procured 2 Messerschmitt planes, nice German aircraft.
The BF-109s?
I'm not sure which type, but we're getting the history now, which is your area. From the Czechs, because there was an arms embargo on Israel at the time, and so he was the one who was able to facilitate the procuring of these 2 planes in the 1948 war. So that was how he helped Israel. He used his wealth, his connections, his language to...
Right, his connections and stuff like that. This guy was very well connected, and this was known. He was very well connected with people. I mean,
look,
he was...
You know my people. We're a well-connected people. I could get on the phone today, and I could be meeting Netanyahu in the middle of a war probably next week if I wanted to. We're small people with good connections.
But that's what... There you go. That again, that kind of solidifies my reasoning to believe that there is even further connections like with the Mossad. And Mossad's not going to openly be like, we're here. I mean, of course not. They're victory through deception. If they don't do that, then they're not doing their job right. And as you said, that's what they all do. These spy agencies fucking do. So, and mind you, the CIA and the Mossad were created like a year apart or something like that. So after World War II.
Yeah, but I mean, intelligence agencies are something that every nation has. That's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, I don't think it's a bad thing. Yeah. It's just what the motives are in that intelligence agency.
Okay, so questionable. I would agree that our nations could have conflicting interests. My agency's objective is the survival of my people. Yours is the survival of your people, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right, and that's all I care about. I just hate to see what's happening to Europe today, and all these. You see, we're over there bombing Iran, right, and then bombing all these other countries and stuff in the Middle East, destabilizing it for the benefit, really, for Israel, half the time. And then you get all these refugees that run over here, and they go run over the European countries, and they run over here to the Western countries, and they ruin it. And it's all for the benefit of Israel. It's the only person that benefits from this is just Israel. So people are just. I talk to people that I've seen, my echo chamber, I suppose you could say, they're sick of it. They're sick of being used and with nothing in return. You know what I'm saying? We don't even have free healthcare for our people. We don't have free college. But in Israel, you guys provide all that to your citizens at the expense of Western nations. You have a better healthcare system than we do.
But it's not free.
Well, I'm sorry. I misinterpreted what they meant by that. What is it about your healthcare system that's
so we have health insurance? It's better because it's superior. I don't know if it's better than America. It's certainly better than the UK. I was born in Britain, and it rings around the British healthcare system. But I pay for insurance, and you pick which plan you want to go on, whether you want to go on the good one, the not so good one, depending on your situation. So we don't have free healthcare. Possibly there are subsidizations to it, but it's definitely not a free healthcare system.
Okay. Well, do you think the way your healthcare is run, is it good, sufficient?
I'm very, but it's
confident?
Got nothing to. Yeah, I think it's a.
No, but it does. So the reason why you can afford these healthcare and everything, subsidies, whatnot, I think is because due to the fact that we give you guys billions of dollars every year.
So that's a very interesting point. Can I just jump in there? Almost every Israeli I know, including the government, doesn't want the money that America gives with us.
I've heard this too. Yeah, I've heard this too.
So I'll explain what it is. Basically, America didn't give us money for a long time. It was given the rest of the world. And then it started giving it, but it was where it was given to other nations. So let's say they give money to the Iraqis. It was just given and they could spend it on whatever. And it just went into the pockets of corrupt plutocrats and politicians. Yeah. And
Right.
with America, Israel, it was different. It was military aid, and it had to be spent on American arms. So it was basically a subsidy of the Americans' arms industry. And then in return, we have to do America's biddings. But more importantly, we have to not develop our industry. So we were developing fighter planes, and we had to stop developing them and rely on the F-35s. And our technology is often superior to America. At the moment, we're intercepting missiles from Iran, intercepting them from Lebanon, intercepting them from Gaza, from Yemen. And our systems are working far more effectively than the THAADs, than the American systems. And so we can develop great technology, and America blocks us from doing it.
What system do you use?
We've got David Sling, we've got arrows, we've got the Iron Dome. Iron Dome was developed by Israel but built in America. It was a joint effort. And so America benefits from our technology.
Yeah, through the
And-
Raphael defense industry. right?
Exactly. And then we develop, say, the F-35, we developed a mesh where they can fly together and coordinate in the sky. America then benefits from that technology. So it's not like the rest, it's not like that money's
It's a
going to the
symbiotic
American health.
relationship.
Exactly.
I understand, but
And
the
that
thing
money
is
doesn't go
that
to
it's
the,
also kind of like
but it doesn't go to the healthcare system. That's what I'm saying.
parasitic on one side, though. I feel like just a tad.
How is
bit.
it parasitic? At first, we don't want
'Cause
it.
I feel like
America's
Israel
forcing
gets
us.
way more out of it. What do we get from you guys? Bombs?
So what you
I
get,
mean, I
you
don't
get,
understand.
you get basically the most powerful military in the Middle East doing your bidding.
People are tired of war, man. And
You're
it's like
tired of war. I don't think.
it proves our point even more that we don't want war, and the only people that are wanting to push it is your body of government over there, the Zog.
The other side to it is the reason, the real reason America's in the Middle East is obviously oil, and not necessarily oil that flows to America. And the Gulf states, Qatar, Saudi, etc., they need America to support them so that their wealth isn't taken from them by rival nations like Iran. And so America is here for American interests and American interests alone, is so that you can have the incredible lifestyles that, I'm not saying you personally, the incredible lifestyles that Americans have. They 25% of the global purchasing and stuff, despite being a fraction of the population. It's a powerhouse. And the world is blessed, lucky to have America as the global hegemony, because it is a land of liberty, of freedom. There are tyrants that could be in that position, which would subject the world to incredible oppression. And I'm grateful that America is the global hegemony, because it is a Christian nation with a strong moral backbone.
Right. And you haven't seen the rhetoric of your people that, when it comes to Christian nations or people.
Jews are a very divided people. Look, Jews are at the lead of
Right.
communism and at the lead of capitalism. Jews are at the lead of
I'm
whatever the
speaking
idea
more
is.
so on a leadership level,
So
like
on a leadership level, we're the only nation, I'm talking to Israel now, because we're the only nation where the Christian community in the Middle East is growing. Christians flourish here. And thank God we have millions of pilgrims come here when we're not in a state of war. And that's... Well, 500 years ago, Christians they treated us like dogs. We were not friends. But Christians today, we have no closer friends. It's American Christians.
You said 500 years ago?
Yeah, so Crusades, Inquisition, etc. We can go back further, but the Christian-Jewish relationship wasn't great back then. Not always. You have people like Heshemish in Poland, who was very good to the Jews. But today, the closest friends of the Jewish people are evangelical Christians and Christians in general. And that's from our Jewish perspective. That's obviously a good thing. We'd much rather have friendship than being burnt at the stake for heresies. It's a nicer existence.
I feel like they take advantage of these people's goodwill, and
in what
and
way?
they blindly support the bad shit that Israel does. We should support Israel because Jesus was a Jew. It's like, okay, that's great and all if it was if it was that nice. But the thing is when
are you a Christian, by the way?
Body of government, yes. When this body of government, yes, this body of government is going around, and my claim they're subsidizing these blackmail rings, and the expense of kids just to garner power and influence over people that are, in our entertainment industry or cabinet, whatever it may be, these positions of power. So I just feel like, how can you support that?
Do you not feel it would be more
You
plausible?
can support a Jew being your brother, sure, like in a like sense of just religion, we're just my neighbor, like sure. But when it comes to
So if we're
politics,
going back to the
it's a
blackmail,
different story,
so let's come back to the blackmail because let's say there is a
Well,
blackmail
yeah,
room.
that's the biggest
Yeah,
one. That's the
okay.
biggest.
So that's I
understand?
realize that's your shaping at least your current worldview. So let's take the blackmail operation.
Okay, yeah,
I
sure.
went deep on the Epstein. I went deep on the files, and so the Rothschilds are in there. So there's a woman called Ariane de Rothschild, who heads the Edmund de Rothschild group in Switzerland. And this is relevant to what you've said. And so when I going through the Epstein files, doing a deep dive for video, I start sweating when I see the Rothschild because oh my god, the
Yeah, the
anti-Semites are
Rothschilds
right.
have
Yeah,
literally
yeah, they're
bought
right.
out countries, and yeah, I know. They
And
bought,
then-
didn't they buy England out?
Then it transpires that Ariane de Rothschild, and she's in the email saying this herself, is not Jewish for one. She married into the Rothschild family, and then her husband, Benjamin de Rothschild, passed away, and she became the chair and the CEO of the second biggest Rothschild banking group, which is the Swiss one. They have 175 billion dollars funds under assets under management. So a big bank run by a Christian. And so I start panicking and thinking, okay, this is not looking good for the anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. Maybe the SS wearing guys are right. And it turns out that it gets even worse. She hands over, it was a 20 million or 20, no, 40, she hands over $25 million to Epstein. It's like, why is a Rothschild giving Epstein $25 million?
Yeah, and these things come up all the time. That's where I'm at. Like, why?
And
Why?
so
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm a digger, so I started digging. And it transpires that the former counsel for the Obama White House, legal counsel, is recruited by Epstein to work on a project to do with the Rothschild. What was the project? It turns out that the IRS had got wind of the Swiss banking system and was going after all the Swiss banks. And the Rothschild Bank was expecting a fine of hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, certainly hundreds of millions. And they recruited Epstein to say, if you can get this bill down, then if you can get it under, I think maybe it was $40 or $50 million, you can get $25 million payout. And he manages to get they put together a team, and they managed to get the bill down to $45.2 million. And so he gets a big payout from the Rothschild. So what first struck me is like some sort of blackmail. When you're reading the emails themselves, you realize actually this is just cold, hard capitalism and a degree of corruption, because you've got people very prominent. You have Larry Summers in there, who was the former Treasury. So very prominent US politicians, very prominent US, economists and solicitors that are connected to the government and also connected to the CIA, able to drive this down. And so the reason I'm pushing all of this back, if you were to say that Epstein is blackmail, why wouldn't you look to the CIA? There's no way the CIA would allow a blackmail operation of this scale on American soil, where the presidents of America are being blackmailed by a foreign nation. They would swoop in straight away and stop that. They would take control of any operation like that on their soil. And so my thing is, I don't think there's a blackmail operation.
what about Bill Clinton and them? They certainly did some unruly
So
things.
they definitely were. I mean, Bill Clinton, another degenerate, absolute degenerate.
They were on Epstein's list, Bill and her.
Yeah, he flew on
You know
he flew on the plane 27 or 28 times. But like,
And I'm not talking about those pictures and shit. I don't all those AI pictures. I'm talking about
real. He was on the plane. There's legit pictures of them together, and so I'm in agreement. And what I'm saying is, if you look at his connection to the American government, to CIA, to like the current director of the CIA was his father was the person who gave Epstein his break at the Dalton School. His first break that then introduced him into these elite circles. So my pushback to you, and again, that doesn't mean that this guy is there's any connection, but it's just an interesting coincidence that the current director of the CIA, his father, recruited Epstein to begin with.
I can't hate that.
Yeah, no. So this is my point. This is my point. So let's say they're not coincidences. That you join the dots. Why wouldn't you say it's the CIA? Because this is all American presidents, American directors of the CIA, American legal counsels and treasury secretaries, and just the top positions. They're all American. why would you then suddenly pivot and say, aha, like Epstein was a Jew, like we can't escape it. He's one of ours. We're sorry. Jesus was one of ours. We're happy with that. Epstein, not so happy with that. And so, why would you jump to Israel? Is it just because he's Jewish? Is it because of Ehud Barak? Why is it?
So okay, sorry. Can you simplify the question for me? Because there's a lot
Sorry.
said. So why do I
Okay.
think?
Why
Again?
instead of saying that Epstein was potentially part of a blackmail operation, maybe American CIA, given all the American connections, why say an Israeli blackmail operation?
Basically, the people that he surrounded himself with were guilty of child trafficking crimes or sex trafficking crimes, at least. I know a few of his colleagues and mentors. They were.
Oh no. We lost. Oh, but
Oh
you're back. I thought I'd lost you.
yeah.
It's like,
No, no. I was saying a lot of his friends that he knew were like, they had histories of trafficking and stuff and everything. And the CIA, and like I said before, the CIA and the Mossad were created hand in hand. So would they work together since we have a symbiotic relationship? I think so. I mean, it's just not far from the truth. That I don't have any proof of this because they do
yeah.
their dealings in secret. So, but to say that they work together is not far stretched. I mean, it's
No,
really
they
not.
definitely do. They definitely work together.
Yeah,
It
and I
doesn't
know
mean they
they
have
do,
the same
but
objectives and they're working
you're
together, but
right.
they
You're right.
work together on initiatives and share
But all it
intelligence.
takes is one guy to be like, yeah, I'm on this guy's, and then things happen. You know what I'm saying? It just takes one bad apple with information to give it along to someone else and everything. And da 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 da. All right, so and to see this much corruption in our government right now, it wouldn't surprise me that's happening.
But I
I mean,
think
you look at the
this is
FBI document and all this stuff, and you see their, like that FBI director dude, and you see his one picture when he got in the job, and that one he's all freaked out and shit. It's like this is what happens when you get into the game. You know what I'm saying? It's dangerous. And then
I think
there was
my
that
key.
one video.
Sorry. It lagged.
Oh
Sorry, you were
yeah,
saying no, it lagged.
yeah. What was I at?
You said
Sorry.
there was this one video.
Yeah, there was this one video. And I just saw this the other day. I haven't really done the frazzle drip video of the on Wiener's laptop and everything. Have you heard about this?
I don't think so. No,
Um,
this is something I don't know.
okay, I have not seen this video. But apparently, it's supposedly real. It was some snuff film they found on Wiener's laptop, and they say that like 9 out of 10 people that looked at it or something have died. I don't know if the number's right. And stuff like that. So there's definitely covering up of information going on in our government. There's a lot of shady stuff going on, and then every time things are coming to light, it's just always the same story. It's like, oh, gee, it's Israel. It's just like it's just becoming a coincidence. The coincidences are like really coinciding at this point. It's just like it's hard not to ignore it. Like I'm not doing this because like, oh my god, I want to be an edge lord TikTok, you know, like no, 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 no. I'm a truth seeker, bro, just like you, just on a different flavor a little bit, but that's fine. And I'm not a hateful, racist, asshole, bigot. Like, dude, I don't care. Like, I just want people. Look, I'm sad what happened to my country, Germany. I was born there. I grew up United States. I'm American German. Okay, so, and I hate when I see what's going on there. It makes me sad because Germany was once great. It could have been great. It could have been great, but shit happened. But that's all said. And I don't want to see the same thing happen to this country because I see it happening. The decline of morality, social structure, a common goal. We're all splintered. We're all hating each other. Blacks want to hate whites. Women want to hate men. Men want to turn into women. And then you got these people that are wanting to be Nazis, and they're just making a pariah movement out of themselves, and they're buying into this subliminal messaging in TikTok, making them want to be white supremacist terrorists at this point. I see it. I see it. I go on there, and I'm being pushed onto these groups that are like extreme, violent, white, and I'm like, I don't want to subscribe to this. But it's like it pushes me into these echo chambers, and dude. I don't want to put my tinfoil hat on, but I think it's all part of the psyop, bro. I think it's all part of the psyop.
This is my thing. You have to think who benefits from that, because Israel and Jews certainly don't benefit from that. But just to bring it, I think the biggest problem. Oh no! Let's see if he comes back. Yeah, you're back. I think the biggest problem that Europeans and European nations, and I would include America in that, suffer from, particularly the right, is their nations are in a state of decay. They're death spiraling at the moment. And I
Yes.
was born in the UK, and I moved to Israel a few years ago, after October the 7th, a couple of years ago. And the first thing that struck me was, I'm walking down the street, and the street is filled with Israeli flags. Every building, people's balconies, they're hanging the flags from. There's cohesiveness to the society. It's a high trust society. When I get an Amazon delivery here, it's delivered to a shop, and there's a shelf at the back of the shop with hundreds of parcels on. And you go in and you get your parcel. You don't show an ID, you don't punch in a code and get it out of a locker. And you get your parcel and you don't steal anyone else's, and no one steals yours. The whole nation functions on trust. And I come from the UK. And the UK was a no-trust society. I'd be terrified for my kids to play out in the street. And there's nothing that gels that society together. And the politicians are driving the nation into the ground. I use the word decay, and I could not think of a more appropriate expression. In Israel, every time I take a drive, I see new roads, new buildings being constructed, new highways. In the UK, infrastructure was built in the 50s and hasn't been touched since. The roads are decaying, the potholes everywhere.
Well, there you go. Why are we wasting all this money and influence onto you guys when we should be fixing our own nation?
so
all this bombing and stuff going on, it's not benefiting us. It's only benefiting Israel.
I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there, and so I'll land, and then you can refute me. And so,
yeah.
The nation's in a state of decay, and instead of the right, rather, I'm not going to look to the left of this, but instead of the right focusing, and with the National Socialists, you're in an interesting combination because you're a mix of left and right, but with the right focused on chasing shadows, chasing ghosts in terms of these Jewish bogeymen, the Kalergi plan, and etc. Instead of if there's a psyop, this is the psyop. The right is obsessed on a fictitious entity that's controlling them instead of focusing on the politicians. So take immigration policy. Immigration policy in the West has largely been set by white Europeans. America, I'm not a fan on your politics as well. I am Europe. I come from Europe. And like you're German, I'm British. I was British. And
you don't think our politics are influenced by foreign bodies like the APAC, ADL?
So APAC is largely an American Christian organization. Most of their funding and membership base is Christian evangelical.
Evangelical Christians, by chance?
Pardon? Yeah, largely evangelical. Yeah, absolutely.
So
but in the spirit,
Israel. Yeah, right.
Yeah, but it comes from the spirit of John Locke. It's very English. So have you read?
I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying like face value. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
the Christians that came from the UK were very pro-Israel. They believed that the Jews had to return to the Holy Land. And so when you read John Locke's Second Treatise, John Locke being one of the big political philosophers that underpins American society, liberty, etc., he's got Hebrew words literally printed in Hebrew in his political thesis. He based it all on the Old Testament and the Jewish aspect of it. And that mindset was taken to America. So it's been there from the beginning, this Christian positive view of the Jewish rather than, say, the Catholic or the Orthodox position, which was more hostile to the Jews back then. But anyway, massive tangent. The key thing I'm saying is the right is focused on a threat that doesn't exist rather than dealing with the real problem, which is if you're worried about immigration, blocking immigration, but not some fictitious Jewish cabal that's controlling it, but the actual politicians that are elected, the civil servants in Whitehall, the deep state, which is where the real problem's coming from. It's coming from the human rights lawyers. It's coming from all manner of things. It's not coming from the Jews. Granted, there will be some Jews in there, but this is Western politics.
There is a lot of Jews in there, though.
So not in Europe. In America, maybe. Not in Europe.
Yeah, maybe in America, sure.
Yeah, the Jews are overrepresented. But not massively overrepresented, but definitely
and Australia as well. Australia is pretty heavy on that. They have their own AJAC committee. Yeah, it's AJAC over there.
Yeah, but it's got very little influence. The same is the UK has the same, but
very little. They got the NSN canceled.
They got the what canceled?
NSN canceled over there.
What's the NS? I don't know what the NSN is.
Well, that's the National Socialist Movement for the Australians.
Is that Thomas Sowell and all those guys? Yeah. Yeah, okay, bro, you don't need a lot of influence. I could probably have done that. That's not massive influence to get Nazis.
I don't live in Australia. All I know is that
I hate to break it to you, but most governments in the world aren't that pro-Nazi at the moment, and it's very easy to get Nazis prescribed.
I know that. Yeah.
It's you don't have to be that. Like, you don't need to be best friends with the prime minister. It's
I just know that it was the works of Ajax that did push it, though. But like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. But like, it's not hard to be like, these guys are Nazis, hate group, because people are already thinking that way anyway. So it doesn't really.
I mean, we're having a nice chat, but even you admit that there are some toe rags within your movement, let's say, and to put it mildly.
Well, address what toe rags.
What toe rags? Let's say National Action in the UK. They literally murdered a politician. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the extremist guys that went out.
Yeah, that's how I'm talking. Yeah.
See, these guys that did this, they don't believe in a they're like accelerationists, aren't they?
You have those. You have those. Also,
I'm not
acceleration. You have the Satanist ones as well.
Yeah. This is a perversion.
That's what I'm saying. You've got some toe rags.
This is a perversion. Yeah, I hate these people. They put a bad name on what this was meant to be. This was not meant to be anything like that, and it's unfortunate how it's come to be nowadays. And this is how it's seen. Like, I just went on TikTok for the first time. I looked on there and I got into the community with the National Socialists, try to see if I could find it. It's just so disgusting. I'm like, they're really glazing people who shot up schools. They're glazing people who are doing heinous crimes. Acting. They go around, they say the N-word over time. I'm just like, bro, you're literally just making yourself into an enemy. You're not.
This is the thing with someone like you. Your attraction to National Socialism, if I'm reading you correctly, is a love for your people and not a hatred of another people. It's maybe looking back to what you perceive to be your nation's strength. Obviously, we're going to have a different reading of history. I lost family to the Nazis, but I'm purposely avoiding going down that because we'll just debate Holocaust, and I can't be bothered.
I don't debate Holocaust, bro. It's just too convoluted. It's not.
But the key point is, with someone like you, your motivation is a love for your people, and when most people, exactly. When most people see the iconography that you adorn yourself with, it reminds them not of the love, but of the atrocities. And whether you believe it was 250,000 or 6 million, Jews were rounded onto trains and taken somewhere, and many of them didn't return. And we don't need to debate the numbers because we will literally just get derailed. But
I just don't care about that anymore. But yeah, it's not.
But the purpose.
Death is a tragedy, nonetheless. But yeah.
Yeah, the purpose. What I'm trying to get to is, if you're trying to save America or Germany from the death spirals that they're currently in, why would you pin it on that? Because no mass movement is going to get behind that in the nations. Go on.
How am I going to do it? Well, I mean, I feel like by doing this exactly, letting people see the other side of it, and not because I know most people you probably talk to are just going to be edgelords. Oh, fuck Jews, fuck this, fuck that, and then it's just a regurgitating fucking talking point that you just constantly hear over and over again. And when in fact, I understand. I feel like people don't understand. There is different kinds of Jews out there. I like Orthodox Jews. I feel like they're one of the most respectable kind of Jews that there is. Hasidic Jews are okay. They're a little strange. I don't know, the culture a little different for me, but I don't know, but they seem okay. They just kind of do themselves. But the ones I have concerns with are like, I guess I hate calling them Zionists, but it's such a buzzword now.
I am a Zionist. I'm probably the biggest Zionist you'll have ever met in your life.
Well, Zionist and like, what's your definition of Zionist?
So the definition I think it's a term that's misunderstood.
I know it's like the state of Israel. It's the state of Israel, wanting your state of Israel, right?
There's certain words that people use. Yeah, exactly. There's certain words. Islamist. Islamist means any Muslim I don't like. Nazi means anybody that I don't like. Zionist means any Jew that I don't like. And these terms actually do have a definition. And so Islamist is a made-up term, so we can ignore that. Zionist is anybody that believes the Jews have a right to a
should have a
homeland.
state, right?
Yeah, exactly as you put it.
Hitler
And
was
that's
a
what I am.
Zionist.
I
Then.
spend my life
He wanted the
committed
Jews
to
to have
that
their own
cause.
state, just outside of Germany.
No,
The
Hitler
Havara
didn't.
agreement. The Havara
The Havara
agreement.
didn't
Yes.
involve Hitler. That didn't involve Hitler. The Havara, and Hitler was opposed to the Havara agreement, and it was ultimately abandoned. But it definitely existed, and there were definitely Germans.
It existed
that
until
were,
1941. It
Yeah.
wasn't abandoned. It was well tonight because of the pressures of the war,
and
that's when the Holocaust
but
started.
the purpose it was seen as a way of raising funds for the war. It was ensuring that Jewish money would be spent on German goods in return for Jews
because they
being able to
boycotted the
escape the
German goods
persecution.
in 1933,
And so, understandably,
and that was their response to that.
But what I was going to say with the whole, I got sidetracked there. The Zionism, the definition is like that. Your definition is you want to survive, your people to survive. Zionism for me is I want my people to survive. That's pure. We've been persecuted.
That's fine.
And so you said you're against the Zionists, and I'm just saying you're speaking to a Zionist, and.
Well, okay, that's why I asked you. I wanted to
Yeah.
clarify what is because there's a lot of things. Zionists, I guess you would have to have good intentions with your Zionism. Now, what's going on, and they would argue what's going on in Palestine is a great displacement of the Palestinian people, so you can exert your Zionist claims onto the land, right? And then the Western nations get the repercussions of it by all the asylums and refugees and whatnot, and then we get hit with that, and we're already having problems with this crap in Europe going on, and
So,
it's
bro,
hate Muslim people and everything.
It's the
It's
other
just
way
not working
around.
out.
It's the other way around, bro. You've got
Okay, because
no
we're bombing.
idea.
I was gonna say we're
Okay, sorry.
bombing their countries, and in reaction, they're not flooding to Western countries in response.
So no. What I was going to say is particularly European interference in our nation is the cause of the biggest cause of the conflict. So the Europeans and America pour billions of dollars into the Palestinians to try and build a state in territory that we believe is ours, so Judea and Samaria, certainly Area C of Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, and they
You believe
perpetuate
it's yours, right? Okay, so
yeah, but that's politically, it's got nothing to do with it's politically. I believe that territory, from San Remo, 1921, was supposed to be the Jewish state. The Arabs have dozens of states. We have one tiny one, which is a fraction of the size of the territory which they have. But there's a separate argument. I don't need to do that with you. The point is that Europeans and the world pours billions of dollars into the Palestinians. I drive around these roads every single day. I'm overtaken by Palestinians that are driving the latest BMWs, Mercedes, Range Rovers, all paid for by European investment, or Israeli as well, in construction as well. But we are a pawn of America. It's not that America is a pawn of Israel. And conflict, and the conflict that it's 100% the case. We are, for instance, take Iran. Iran has killed more U.S. servicemen than any nation since the Gulf War. And so Iran is the biggest enemy of America. They're developing nuclear weapons, developing intercontinental ballistic missiles. They claim they only had a missile that flew 2,000 kilometers. They could hit Britain with their missiles today. They just hit a base which was 4,000 kilometers, an island, 4,000 kilometers from Iran, with a missile. Well, they tried to hit it, was intercepted. And so they can...
at Dimona?
Not Dimona, they hit Dimona, but that's in Israel. Diego Garcia was where they hit, which is an island. But
the island. Okay, that's where they have the oil.
But that's 4,000.
Right?
We knew they could hit Israel. They've hit us several times. Nobody knew because they said they couldn't go further than 2,000 kilometers. Because Khamenei had allegedly put a fatwa saying we couldn't. They had them. The IGC had weapons that could hit 4,000 kilometers. They are pointing those weapons at you. And their biggest enemy actually isn't Israel. It's the Arab states that America requires for the oil to flow out of. So the Saudis, the Emiratis, Qataris, etc. These nations are dependent on American support, and America is dependent on their oil for the global economy and to retain their position as the global hegemony. And so we are like the attack dog. We are the aircraft carrier, the permanent aircraft carrier in the Middle East. We are able to do America's bidding here. We're able to take out all the air defenses of Iran. And then America can fly in and do the real heavy lifting and take out Fordo and take out the nuclear facilities. But it's a symbiotic relationship. We benefit from it greatly. They benefit from it greatly. But the one who's pulling the strings is America. For instance, we wanted to go into Rafah in the Gaza war. And Biden stopped us. He blocked arms coming to us, put huge pressure so we couldn't go in and kill Hamas. When we finally went back and ignored America 6 months later, we killed the leader, Sinwar. He was hiding there. And so America is the one that pulls our strings. We're not telling America who to go to war with. We're not telling America they can't and can do this. It's the other way round. America pulls our strings. And I don't want that. I want to sever those strings. I want us to be free of American interference, and I want our relationship to be one of friends, good neighbors, trading partners. I don't want $3 billion of American aid, so I have to buy American weapons. I want to build my own weapons and only purchase weapons from America and none of their rivals, because I want us to retain that closeness. But I don't want to be your big. No offense.
Well, I mean, I would argue the same thing through APAC, but you know.
But APAC's Americans, so that's.
Really?
Yeah, I mean there are definitely Jews there. Yeah, and truthfully,
APAC is, right? We all know what APAC is.
Yeah,
it's not okay.
American Israel Public Affairs.
Yeah, right. Okay, so you know what I mean. So like every Republican has an APAC buddy. Okay, this is not no secret. I don't know how it goes on the Democratic side. I'm sure they do too. But when you got a politician that has a foreign entity as your advisor, it just doesn't sit well with me. And then you go down these Senate the halls of the Senate or these cabinet members, and you see on their doors, it's all Israel, 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 like endorsed by Israel. You know what I mean, come on. And then you're going to say that America, you're the bitch of America. I just see otherwise, unless it's all part of the psyop, and I'm being spoon-fed bullshit here.
APAC's biggest campaign was to prevent the sanctions from being relieved on Iran and prevent the nuclear development there. They lost that,
right.
and so APAC definitely has influence, but it's like 10th on the list in terms of lobbying. Take Qataris. Qataris have basically bought American universities. They invest billions of dollars. They gave Trump a $400 million plane. Qatar also bankrolls Hamas. They're like our enemy. They're Muslim Brotherhood. We are not close with Qatar, and Qatar is the biggest funder and lobbying group or state in America, hands down. And nobody talks about Qatari cabal controlling America, and they just grossly outspend the Jews.
Is it possible that we do all this stuff for your benefits, though? I mean, yes, it helps us out too. I mean, yes, we can keep oil prices low by draining other countries' oil reserves while stockpiling ours. I mean, yeah, duh.
So
and then
this war, yes, this war, yes, you could say the Iran war benefits us. It definitely benefits us 100%, but it also benefits all the Arab states as well. What I would say, though, the Iraq war, the Afghanistan war, they don't benefit us in any way. Netanyahu actually went to tell Bush, do not invade Iraq. He was saying, invade Iran. Go to Iran. Iran's the problem, not Iraq. And then they said, no, we're going after Iraq. We need you on board. And so then after that, after opposing it, Netanyahu then went to Congress and spoke to them and said, look, there's weapons of mass destruction, etc. We need to get on board with this. But Israel's objective was Iran. Iraq posed a very, very minimal threat to us. Iran poses an existential threat to us. So I would agree with you.
Speaking and everything, yeah. How long do you think this war is going to go?
Genuinely don't know. I think it could be a very long war. I don't think you'll see American troops on the ground. I think what you're more likely to see is Kurdish and Arab separatists on the western border, which is also where all the oil is, being armed and supported, just like in Iraq. It was the Kurds.
Yeah, with the ISIS and stuff.
Exactly. And
air support and intelligence. Yeah. Kind of.
So I could see something similar to that. The Persians wouldn't want that, but other than boots on the ground, I think that may be because then if you cut off the oil from the regime, economically the regime's going to collapse. It's going to implode. They won't be able to pay any bills,
The
and they're
people will
already in
start to
crisis.
take over.
Exactly, or the military will. There will be a coup of some sort.
Military coup or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But I don't know how long it's going to go on for.
Yeah.
But I don't think you'll see American troops on the ground. Is my prediction. But I'm
I hope
not a
not.
prophet.
I mean,
Me too. Me too. I don't. Again, it's bad for us. Anything that like. When I say us, I'm talking Jews in America. Jews in America, Jews in Europe are facing the worst anti-Semitism since the 40s, and this all fuels it.
And is that a coincidence to say? Like, there is. That's what I was saying before. There is dots to connect and everything. And I'm not saying all of it. Like, look, I know there's a lot of disinformation going on right now. I know this for a fact, and I don't like to quote too many things or say things in a certain way because I know that some of it can be possibly just bullshit or stretched. However, you know what I mean. But I will stand by with the whole Epstein thing being a product of some kind of like operation, some kind of operation that the Israeli government did know of.
But possibly CIA, possibly
It's not
Russia,
far from the
possibly
truth.
My thing is, I'm not I
that's all I'm
genuinely.
saying.
My thing is, I'm not sure Epstein was a blackmail operation. I
don't think he was top dog. I think he was just a product of it.
But what I'm saying is that you have to look at what would his motivation be. The man's
Money?
worth at least $600 million. He's got private islands. And the sorts of money that's flowing to him in the files is one. You can see why it's being spent. You can see why Black was giving him the money that was for, again, tax advice. He got his bills down. You can see why all these different people are giving him the money, and it seems
like
kosher.
Leslie Wexner and shit.
Leslie Wexner, because that's pre the files, that we don't know what Wexner was paying it. But what was interesting, what I did find in one of the emails, was he was saying that you could give me, it doesn't have to be money, you could give me an asset like a plane or something. I think he said this to Black or someone. It's in one of the emails. And that could explain how Wexner gave it could be why Wexner gave him the one of the most expensive houses in New York, whereas this is a way of avoiding a tax bill for the money.
You gave him a jet too, a 747 or 20. I don't know.
But the key thing there is, I think Epstein was a money genius, a financial genius, and so if you're a financial genius and you have one of the best political networks, he's connected to global leaders like everyone from the Muslims to the Americans to the Brits. He's in with all of them, and if you've got that network, you're getting paid tens of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars at a time for your financial services. Why would you jeopardize that for a blackmail operation? What I would maybe see is he could have potentially started his career and got a leg up working with an intelligence agency like the CIA. But by the time he's doing his degenerate acts in Palm Beach or wherever, by then he's already super rich. And he's not like, I'm a Zionist. You go in my emails, all you're going to see is Israel, Israel, Israel. I don't know if you're a white nationalist or whatever, but if you go in your emails, it's going to be very, very, very ideological. That's not in any of the files. All we find is he doesn't like Israel and he doesn't spend any time there. Instead, he's going everywhere but Israel. And so my argument is that I think he was a degenerate. I'm not convinced on the blackmail stuff.
Oh, he's degenerate. I mean, we can agree on that.
Look at this, a Nazi and a Jew agreeing on a bad Jew. And so the thing I come back to is, like, you seem a man that's motivated from a love for your people and tries to be evidence-based. Yet when it comes to the fundamental foundation upon which you're building your ideology, it's highly speculative, in the sense that I put some counter arguments to why I don't think your worldview is correct. Not the National Socialism, but just literally the cabal of Jews or Zionists or whomever that's running America.
Well, I don't have a set theory. I'm just saying there's coincidences and dots that could connect, like the fact, like I said before, like to run through real quick, Robert Maxwell. was a Mossad agent and met through.
But he
Epstein
wasn't.
met
I mean,
him
that's
through.
that's not confirmed that
Was
he's
he
from
not? I
Mossad.
swear to God, he was.
So
He was.
there was a Mossad translator called Ari Ben Menashe, and he's he's one of the people that says he was a spy. He's one of the people that also names Epstein, but he only names Epstein
But
after
Epstein would just
Epstein's
have
story breaks.
ties.
So Ari Ben Menashe like writes books and says what it's like to be a Mossad spy. That's his thing. And he says Epstein was the money guy for the Mossad. This is where the story comes
Right.
from. And he says that Maxwell was the one who introduced. Like, he's got this whole theory, but he says all of this. He's a man who made his name from being a whistleblower, and so he conveniently left out the main money man of the Mossad until the main money man of the Mossad, Epstein, was a household name, and then suddenly he's telling the whole world. If Ari Ben Menashe had said that in the early 2000s, I would be okay. This is looking compelling because before it's a thing, he's pointing the finger. But I think he's a grifter. I think Maxwell was a massive ideological Zionist. I don't think Ghislaine Maxwell is. She's. Oh, do you know what that is?
Oh yeah.
That's the Iranians. They're firing missiles. 3 a.m. in the morning, and
Oh boy.
I'll be taking. If I run off, it's that's why I've got to go to the bomb shelter.
Okay. No problem.
But yeah, I'm not convinced that Maxwell was Mossad. It's possible he was. It's possible he was also
He knew
MI5
people that had ties,
and
you know,
KGB.
and then considering what he was doing with people that I don't know. I mean,
But even
why?
even if Maxwell is, which is that's far more probable than Epstein. I don't
Well, I
see
think
how you get to
Robert
Epstein.
Maxwell definitely is.
Yeah, I'd say I wouldn't argue too
I know
strongly
he was
wasn't.
known for investing into Israel.
Yeah,
know what I'm
but
saying?
that's what I'm saying.
So-
That doesn't mean you're Mossad. He could have been a Mossad
I know
asset
that.
rather
I'm
than
just
like
saying
an
it's just more
agent.
that adds on to it. You know what I'm
And
saying?
in the same sense, if I was, let's say, I'm a successful UK businessman, and there's something I can do to help Israel, being an ideological Zionist, I probably would. It doesn't mean I'm Mossad, but it means I'm ideologically supporting the state. I think that's what Maxwell was. I don't think he was a trained Mossad
But also,
agent.
you got to take into account that he owned a lot of newspaper industries or whatever, plant and stuff, and the CIA does this here with our news industries and stuff. So to say that people saying that he was a Mossad agent, and then you look at his business and his ties as well, I mean, it just makes sense.
So-
you know, I'm not saying it's not. Yeah, I can't sit there and prove it. Like it's just accusations and coincidences and things that make sense, but you know what I'm saying? I don't have a video recording them saying, "Hey, I'm Mossad. This is what we're doing." Like, yeah,
no,
of course not. Like, you know what
I
I'm saying?
agree.
Like, so yeah, you can't sit there and be like, yeah, this is 100% true. I'm with you there, but like, all I'm saying is like, it's possible because it just
Okay, let me
and
just
and the
before
people want
running
the
the bomb
truth. And
shelter.
that's why I want the truth. That's why I'm like out here asking questions, doing stuff.
Let
you
me
know?
do it a different way because I'm going to run off in a minute. I think that not because
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want
yeah,
to.
you're good,
So I
you're
just
good.
thought I'd get to this quick question. What would you say the biggest problem America faces today?
The polarization of the country, lack of common goal, purpose.
And and I think that comes back to what I was saying at the beginning because the whole Jew spurging stuff is a distraction from that. Because I would agree with that. We might have a different definition, belief of what that common goal should be, but there should. The thing that's lacking from Western nations is pride. I was raised in Britain, and I was raised to hate my country. If I saw the Union Jack or the St. George, the English flag or the United Kingdom flag, I instantly thought racist. When I thought of England's colonial past, I was ashamed. I saw England as a slaving nation. In reality, the British Navy abolished slavery at great cost to the nation. Colonialism had negatives, but it also brought many positives with it as well. And so I was only taught the side of history, which is negative and hating. And that's, for me, that's not the Jews. Like, you could remove Jews completely from the equation and you'd still have that same problem in Britain. There is, and I can't speak for America as strongly, but there is no sense of pride in being British. I am proud to be Jewish. If you say you're proud to be a European, I mean, you particularly because you got a swastika on the wall, but it's gonna set off red flags, and people are going to think racist. They're going to think, and I think that's a.
Yeah, I get that all the time. That's fine. But
I
if they
mean, I
want to have
think I get
a
why you do,
conversation about it,
but
I'm here. But yeah, I understand. But I'm just saying, like I don't know if people. You said you do this for videos, so I don't know. Do you have a YouTube channel or something?
yeah. I mean, again, mine's called the Israel. This is my YouTube Israel Advocacy Movement. Um, I I make videos, I make no shame, but my thing is I speak to my enemies. You are my enemy, and I think the way I convert you from being an enemy is by listening to what your concerns are, and hopefully, we can find common ground and maybe dispel some of them.
I think we have common ground. Honestly, if you're just a decent human being, and I feel like I'm a decent human being. I don't want to go Ku Klux Klan the fucking, no, that's not it. You know what I'm saying? I believe National Socialism did have its place in history. Unfortunately, it was not allowed to happen. Could it, if it was allowed to happen in a nice setting, it probably could have flourished. I don't think people would have died in gas.
One final question,
But
actually, on
that's
that:
all
do
bad.
you
That's all
believe
bad.
in that? Because I'm not a socialist, but I can see why people would like the 25-point program. I could see why of the National Socialist Party, healthcare, welfare system. I get that. What about because the objection to National Socialism is largely the racial, the Holocaust. What are your views on the racial science of National Socialism? Do you buy into that, or is that less your thing?
I think that okay. So you're saying like okay,
Like
Germans for the Germans and this and that and all this stuff, right?
Untermenschen, the subhumans,
Well,
the
I can tell you what I believe when it comes to National Socialism, what I believe what was meant to be. I mean, this is from Mustache Man's mouth. Um, and it was a socialist as one who serves the common good, right, without giving up his individuality and or personality, and are the product of his efficiency. So their adopted term socialist and National Socialism isn't the same with like Marx and socialism. Sorry, my cat hair is going over. Um, so because Marxism is anti-property, right? True socialism
yeah.
isn't. And Marxism doesn't place value on the individual or his effort or his how he does his work. Um, true socialism does it values the individual without like inhibiting his you know his work ethic, I suppose. And but his interests must be in consonance of the communities. You know what I'm saying? So and um, brain fog. His because okay, wait, all great inventions. And it's been a while since I reiterated this. I had this down pat. Wow. All great inventions come from an individual's brain. It's achievement discoveries, and this was all first product of someone's brain, and they should be rewarded as such. You know what I'm saying? But it being in the same in line with the community's goals, right? So this would create a strong, independent community. So love for your own family and preservation. I think this was like my idea of National Socialism. This was Hitler's idea of national. This is like not verbatim. I think I probably messed it up a couple words there, but that's kind of his definition of what it was. And I think that was good. Now, when it comes to the racial thing, no, I don't think like I'm not saying like okay, let's hypothetically speaking, it's never going to happen. I don't want that. I think you know, United States goes national socialist, whatever. It's not going to happen. But sake of argument, does that mean we need to kick all the black people out or all the no? I don't think that at all. I think America is special in its own degree because yes, we are multicultural. I do believe Europe should be for the Europeans, and maybe you guys down there in your corner, and then these guys in their corner, and we can all trade and prosper together, and that's fine. But there should be it shouldn't be forbidden to like cross or whatever or marry another but there should be incentives for people to stay within their culture so that you preserve it, but you have the option to go out and do what you want, but those incentives will keep your culture alive indefinitely because there'll always be people that will go for the tax breaks or whatever you want to give, like Germany did. They gave tax breaks to families of like 4, 5 plus. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, but not forbidden and not shunned upon or anything like that. Because love is love at the end of the day, you know. And I get that, but I do believe that we should instill good morals and even in a medical standpoint, me like I'm just gonna drop like I have cancer. Okay, like when I get a stem cell transplant, I need a donor that is within my ethnic background. If I'm in a multicultural place and and I don't have a German or something like that, I will have a lower chance of actually getting a proper treatment because I'm not around my people. And donors, like when you get donor, you have a higher chance of accepting that donor because they're the same blood. You come from the same ancestors, so you have a higher chance of accepting this. So there is drawbacks to it too. You got to, and it's not racist to say this. It's just you have to understand science and biology and how your body works. And and I think keeping your culture strong like this is beneficial for you, in degrees like in health and stuff like that, and um, intellectually too. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a small form of eugenics, right? Is the right word? Like a not not like Himmler type shit,
Yeah.
like but just a quasi kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But not mandatory, just incentivized. You know what I'm saying? It's your
And
choice. We want to be free. We want to have our own choice. You know what I'm saying? But you know, does
and
that
what
make
about
sense?
that makes perfect sense. But again, I think the biggest challenge you face with that, particularly with Europe, I can't speak as strongly for America, is it may be too late for that anyway, in the sense
I
that
thought this.
if you go to Birmingham or London, white English is a minority, and so I genuinely respected what you said when you were love is love. You can't force who people fall in love with it. Like you're not there
No,
to
you
like.
can't.
But and I also agree with you. I'm an Orthodox Jew. I want my children to marry a Jew. If they fall in love with a non-Jew, I want the non-Jew to convert.
And
But
I don't hate you
ultimately,
for it.
yeah, yeah,
As long as you respect me, like, hey, I would like to be
but
within my class, right? My
yeah,
European. That's nothing wrong with that. Like, I don't see
yeah,
anything wrong with that.
and with a conversion, if they convert in, they then choose to
That's their
basically
choice.
change their culture and assimilate into the Jewish people. And Western nations are at a point now where they've pushed multiculturalism and they've abandoned assimilation. So the Jewish community is quite a unique community. We've been in Europe for centuries, for 2,000 years, maybe longer, and the UK, as an example, we came much more. We were there, and then we got burnt at the stake and kicked out. But then we came back a few hundred years ago, around 300 years ago, or just over 300 years ago, and ever since then, the Jewish community says a prayer every Saturday in synagogue for the government and for the king out of gratitude for giving us a place of sanctuary. And we did assimilate to the point that you've had Jewish prime ministers of the UK, Benjamin Disraeli, one of the most conservative prime ministers there ever was, probably the most right-wing prime minister, or certainly one of the most right-wing prime ministers Britain has ever experienced. He's seen as the grandfather of the modern conservative movement. Benjamin Disraeli, he was a baptized Christian, but he was his parents were Jewish, and I think if an immigrant community is moving into the West, just if they're moving into Israel, they have to assimilate into the wider
Yes.
culture. And I think that's what's lacking. And so, with your vision, where you're saying America is multicultural, and it's been multicultural from its inception, not just like European
Yeah.
culture, but slaves were brought over. There were Jews there from basically the beginning.
All over the world, the
Yeah,
Chinese, everything. Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
And so that's been the case. And so America's got a problem. Like, do you believe in the United States as a nation? You want to see the United States forever, or would you be a separatist where the Germanic people would break off, or the like? Where do you sit
I
on?
would not want unnecessary civil war or a revolution if it was not meant to be. I would like to see a better fleshed out um, government. I think the Constitution is a nice piece of work. It needs to be revamped to the modern age, obviously, but not in a way that they can take advantage of us. And there needs to be some kind of third party, transparent auditing branch of the government that audits our fucking government. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And for shit like it's going on right now. And I don't know how that's gonna fucking happen. I thought the FBI would take care of that, but you know how that goes. So yeah, it's very complicated. It's very complicated for sure. And then at that point, so what do? You get a secret police, and then all of a sudden you're a dictator, you're a totalitarianist, and you're authoritarian. It's just like, what's the solution? It's just like you can't. Sometimes you just have to make hard decisions, bro. But I don't want. Look, I don't want people to die. Like, I'm not sitting here going like, put them all in the gas chambers. Like, no, dude. Like, I don't want that, because the last thing I want is people to hate what this is. Like, I don't see it the way other people see it. All right, like, I don't. Yes, I understand atrocious things did happen under these times, but I do understand these times were very severe, and these people were fighting for their very lives, and the one enemy that they were taught was their enemy. Well, they in their minds, they were the reason for their whole undoing. So yes, there was a lot of hatred going on there, and it doesn't just excuse it, but you have to understand the time and place and the days, and and it's stuff like this happened all across history, and no one's innocent of it, and it doesn't make it any better again. But I just hope we can learn from our mistakes.
Bro,
Get
this
rid of
is
the
the
hate
most
and
confusing conversation I've ever had. If you took the
what.
flag down, I think I'd remove the tattoo. I think I'd agree with like a high percentage of the things that you say. At times, you're like, I'm against dictators. I'm like, but Hitler was a dictator. I'm against like atrocities based on someone's racial background. Like, yeah, bro, me too.
Well,
And for the survival of my
hear me out.
people, I love European culture, bro. I also enjoy like Europeans, are amazing
Yeah,
people.
I don't think we should lead our people under a authoritarian and dictatorship forever. I think it's a good means to an end.
Yeah.
Like, for example, there's a lot of corruption going on in your country, and this and that, all this red tape everywhere, and all this stuff, backlogging the system, and you can't do anything. Everyone's stonewalling you. You can't get anything. Look at America. You can't get shit done because everyone just blocks you, stonewalls you. You know what I'm saying? They just waste your time. But you get that authoritarian figure in there with a decent head on his shoulders. He says, cut the red tape, get rid of this bullshit, get rid of all these guys who are doing us no good, and then establish a
Well,
better
look at China.
democracy, better
But
bureaucrats afterwards, and then go back to the Constitution. I think that would be good. But I'm not the one to do that. That has to come from a great man. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, it has to
But
come from a great man.
where
And
can I
that's
find
just
you?
what it is.
I've shared my social. Where, are you on like Rumble? Oh, actually, you're not going to be Rumble. You're going to be like BitChute or somewhere.
No, I don't do. I just roam on here, man. But I have my let's see. I have an Instagram.
You have an Instagram. Do you have iconography on your Instagram, like, or is it just a normal Instagram?
It's just a normal Instagram.
Okay,
Bro.
don't share. Don't share. If you had a platform, share it. If it's a personal, don't dox yourself.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I don't want the evil Nazi guy. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
want
no, like
my mail.
you're the first non-evil, or certainly one of the first Nazis I've been able to listen to and agree with a lot, because you're not spurging. You're not. I disagree with your cabal of Jews theory, but that's fine. That's your prerogative. America's a free country. You can arrive at whatever conclusions.
Well, I don't necessarily believe in it full-heartedly myself. I'm just saying that there. Look, I'm a very skeptical person. I'm a truth seeker. I take things with a grain of salt. I try to cross-reference my facts. And I do understand that some things just don't add up in certain places. But there is things that do kind of. So I'm just on the fence with that stuff. I do believe Israel has involvement. I think there's no doubt about that. My eyes. Now, are they worshiping the cabal, or are they the cabal? Are they Kabbalah worshiping Jews? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Whatever or is it just money and power? I don't know. I don't know. It's just dirty politics.
Most of just on that front, most of the Jews that people are opposed to are godless Jews. The Kabbalists, the Jews that are into Kabbalah, which is most Orthodox
secular,
Jews, by the way.
secular
No,
Jews, right?
it's mostly Orthodox Jews. I'm not into the Kabbalah, but most Orthodox Jews are. But the guys who were in political power in America, who are running the big businesses, they're not into any of the religious stuff. They went to America and they abandoned their religion. They assimilated into American culture, and as America became, and they certainly played a role in that, as it became more progressive and more liberal and more godless, they were swept along with that movement. The God-fearing Jews, like the Orthodox Jews we were describing before, they're the ones that would be more likely to be into the Kabbalah. Personally not. I'm a hardcore rationalist. I'm not a mysticist. But it is a part of the religious tradition, and it's not what people think. It's not all this like Baal worshipping, child eating.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah,
It's mysticism. It's mysticism.
Yeah.
I'm very, Hermeticism, Gnosticism, the
Exactly,
Kabbalah. Yeah. I know. I'm familiar with the algorithm there when it comes to mysticism.
Anyway, I'm going to go to bed now
It's
because
not-
it's 3:10 in the morning here. But I've really enjoyed talking to you. Really sorry to hear about your situation. We say before
That's fine.
Shlema, which is it doesn't feel appropriate here, but it's wishing you good health. And yeah, I'm really genuinely sorry for your situation. You're a very
that was
decent.
good talk,
Never
man.
thought I'd say it was a decent conversation with a Nazi. So
National Socialist.
National Socialist, please don't
The
be
other
don't
idiots
be
are Nazis,
offensive
okay?
as I have my swastika on the floor. Don't offend me on the wall. Don't offend me.
It has history
We
too,
have
man. I
feelings
don't
too. All right, bro.
I'm not here
Good
to
night.
offend anybody, just to invoke a conversation, which we did. Do. It was
Definitely,
great.
definitely.
So,